In the quiet, leafy suburbs of Toronto, a scene of unspeakable horror unfolds. Nestled among manicured lawns and sprawling estates, the Peel Regional Police District is typically a picture of serene, affluent calm. But beneath this polished veneer, a chilling narrative is about to emerge, shaking the foundations of this wealthy community. On a day that began like any other, Dennis Berg, a successful jeweler, returned to his grand home after a day of tending to his upscale business. But what awaited him was a sight that would haunt his dreams forever. His beloved wife, Delores, lay lifeless in their elegant bathroom, her existence brutally cut short. The surroundings bore no marks of forced entry, a haunting indication that the perpetrator was not only familiar with the Berg residence, but had access to its most intimate spaces without resistance. This dreadful discovery paints a grim picture. A prosperous community's peace shattered, a family torn apart, and a mystery lurking behind closed doors. Enter Detective Roman Boychuck, tasked with untangling this web of deceit and violence. As he steps into the quietude of the upscale Toronto suburb, the gravity of the crime settles around him, thick as the evening fog. The home of Dennis and Delores Berg, once a sanctuary of love and comfort, now serves as the chilling stage for a murder investigation that would captivate a community and confound the experts. The initial sweep of the crime scene reveals unsettling details. There are no shattered windows, no jimmied locks, nothing to suggest that an outsider forced their entry into the Berg household. This absence of forced entry whispers tales of familiarity. The perpetrator was someone who knew the terrain, someone who moved with ease within these walls. In the stark sterility of the bathroom, Delores Berg's lifeless form tells its own gruesome story. Found nude and vulnerable, the brutality of her end is palpable. A violent attack culminating in strangulation. It's a scene that paints a picture of personal vendetta, rather than a random act of violence. Enter forensic officer Frank Kavchich, whose expertise becomes pivotal in stitching together the silent testimonies scattered throughout the crime scene. Each strand of hair, each fiber collected, begins to form the outlines of a suspect profile. Kavchich's meticulous analysis of the physical evidence starts to fill gaps that the visible narrative leaves open. The initial glare of suspicion naturally falls upon Delores' husband, Dennis Berg. A prosperous jeweler, his relationships and movements come under intense scrutiny. Yet, as the alibis are corroborated and timelines cross-referenced, it becomes evident that Dennis's whereabouts at the time of the murder absolve him of direct involvement. His grief, under the weight of his wife's tragic demise, appears genuine and untainted by guilt. With the husband cleared, the spotlight shifts, and a new suspect emerges from the shadows. Carpet salesman Ernie Westergard, a man of ordinary demeanor but with a hidden past. Ernie Westergard's life appeared unremarkable at a glance. A carpet salesman by day, his interactions seemed confined to swatches of fabric and customer service. Yet, beneath this veneer of normalcy, a turbulent history simmered. Years before the murder of Delores Berg, Westergard had skirted the edges of the law, involved in minor thefts and fraud. These past misdemeanors, though seemingly minor, hinted at a capability for deception. The connection between Westergard and the Bergs was not immediately apparent to investigators. It was discovered that he had been to the Berg residence several times under professional pretenses to discuss potential sales of luxury carpets. This frequent access to their home provided him with intimate knowledge of its layout and routines, a crucial factor that later played into the investigation. On the day of the murder, Westergard claimed to be at a local trade show, an alibi that initially seemed solid. However, as Detective Roman Boychuck and his team dug deeper, inconsistencies began to surface. Ticket stubs and surveillance footage from the event told a different story. Westergard was there, but not during the crucial hours surrounding Delores' death. Further scrutiny of his alibi revealed more cracks. Phone records indicated that his mobile device pinged a cell tower near the Berg's residence shortly before the murder was believed to have occurred. This piece of digital evidence contradicted his claims of being miles away at the trade show. As investigators continued to peel back layers, Westergard's facade of a mundane salesman started to crumble. The final blow came when forensic analysis matched fibers from one of his sample carpets to those found on Delores' body, placing him undeniably at the scene during the time of her murder. A facade of normalcy crumbles, revealing a history marred by violence and deceit. The silent witnesses speak volumes as forensic science brings the truth to light. In the unsettling quiet of the Berg home, it was the invisible traces that began to narrate a story more telling than any witness could. As investigators combed through the scene, it was clear that the key to unlocking this mystery lay hidden in the minutiae. Enter forensic officer Frank Kavcic, whose expertise became the linchpin in the case against Ernie Westergard. It was DNA evidence, invisible yet irrefutable, that first hinted at Westergaard's presence at the scene. Minute traces of his DNA were discovered on the bathroom door handle, a silent testament to his presence in the very room where Delores Berg met her tragic end. But the forensic breakthroughs didn't stop there. Advanced techniques in fiber analysis revealed microfibers on Dolores's body that matched the carpet samples from Westergaard's showroom. This wasn't just coincidence. It was scientific confirmation of a connection that Westergaard had desperately tried to deny. Moreover, shoe prints found at the scene were matched to a pair of shoes sold exclusively at a store where Westergaard was known to shop. This piece of evidence, combined with the DNA and fiber analysis, shifted the investigation from one relying on circumstantial evidence to a case built on concrete scientific proof. As the evidence mounted, so did the certainty of Westergaard's involvement. Each forensic discovery acted like a puzzle piece, fitting together to form a picture of guilt that was hard to contest. In the realm of justice, science plays a pivotal role, turning the invisible into undeniable proof. As the court assembles, a community awaits justice for Delores Berg. The courtroom buzzes with a tense anticipation as the trial of Ernie Westergard commences. The prosecution presents a compelling array of evidence, each piece more condemning than the last. The centerpiece of their argument is the undeniable DNA evidence linking Westergard directly to the crime scene. Additionally, forensic experts testify about the unique fibers found on Dolores's body, matching those from a carpet sold by Westergard just days before the murder. As the trial progresses, the defense attempts to poke holes in the prosecution's case. They argue that the DNA evidence could have been contaminated and suggest that Westergaard's presence at the Berg residence was purely incidental, tied to his professional dealings with the victim's husband. Despite their efforts, the jury seems unconvinced. The palpable emotional testimonies from the Berg family members, particularly the heart-wrenching impact statement from Dennis Berg, visibly sway the courtroom. In a decisive moment, a previously undisclosed surveillance video is introduced, showing Westergard in the vicinity of the Berg home at the time of the murder, contradicting his earlier statements about his whereabouts. After hours of deliberation, the jury returns with their verdict: guilty on all counts. The judge sentences Ernie Westergard to a life sentence without the possibility of parole, citing the heinous nature of the crime and the overwhelming evidence against him. With the bang of a gavel, a chapter closes on this tragic story, but the echoes of its lessons linger. As the dust settles, we reflect on the impact of Delores Berg's murder on her community and the justice system. The tragedy of Delores Berg's untimely death rippled through her community, sending shockwaves of fear and mistrust. In an area where neighbors once greeted each other with open doors, the blinds were drawn tighter and the locks clicked more firmly. It's a poignant reminder of how a single act of violence can shatter the illusion of safety in even the most serene settings. Yet, amidst this atmosphere of distrust, there was a silver lining: the commendable efficiency of the Peel Regional Police and the forensic team. The swift and thorough response by law enforcement showcased an impressive blend of dedication and advanced technological application. Forensic officer Frank Kavcic's meticulous work piecing together the evidence was pivotal, not just in solving the case, but in restoring faith in the justice system. It underscored the critical role that forensic science plays in modern policing, turning what might once have been a cold case into a court conviction. The emotional closure for Dolores's family and friends, though bittersweet, brought a semblance of peace. Knowing that the perpetrator was behind bars allowed them a moment to begin the healing process, a journey from the shadows of grief towards the light of remembrance without fear. This case also sparked a broader dialogue on enhancing community safety and crime prevention. It's a stark reminder that vigilance is necessary and community engagement is crucial. Initiatives have since been launched to strengthen neighborhood watch programs and improve the lines of communication between residents and police forces. These efforts aim not just to deter crime, but to foster a community spirit resilient against the forces that seek to undermine it. In conclusion, while the murder of Delores Berg was a tragedy, it also served as a catalyst for change, reinforcing the community's resolve to protect its members and stand united against adversity. In the face of darkness, the relentless pursuit of justice brings a glimmer of hope. Stay vigilant, stay safe.